Council of the whole receive and file reports and recommendations.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Ordinances on first reading. Item 6FA amends Title 23 Traffic and Parking of the revised ordinances of the city regarding a one-way street in the North Ward, changing the direction thereof. Van Wagenen Street does not require DOT approval. The sponsor is Councilmember Gonzalez.
I'll second.
Second by Ramos. To adopt on first reading. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6FB, Mr. President, also an amending ordinance for Title 23 Traffic and Parking, designating Beaver Street, Clinton Street as a stop sign intersection in the East Ward. The stop on Beaver does not require DOT approval.
Amador?
Yes.
Second.
Amador Crump.
Crump to adopt on first reading. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6FC, Mr. President, ordinance amending Title 23, once again, Traffic and Parking, designating St. Francis Street and Cassuth as a stop sign intersection in the East Ward. Stop sign on St. Francis does not require DOT approval. Councilmember Amador moves. Second.
Second. Second Gonzalez.
Roll call
call,
to adopt
please.
on first reading.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6FD, an ordinance amending Title 23 Traffic and Parking, Parking Meter Regulations, revising parking meter zones, adding a Zone 4 for special event parking, does not require DOT approval.
Did they come before us, Council President?
Yeah.
I wasn't at the
Yes.
meeting.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yes, they,
What did
the
they say?
Parking Authority appeared before the council and the item was discussed.
Councilman Amador, you want to briefly discuss?
Yeah,
It impacts mostly
they
East Ward right
explained how the process is going to take place, but I still have some concerns about the residents being notified first that this is going to be implemented first. Some of the residents right now have residential parking. That should be extended to everyone in the area before we implement this ordinance. So even though this is in first reading, we have another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Depending on how we look at it for the next 2 weeks, we can okay it today and make sure that those concerns are answered before we give the final approval 2 weeks from now.
It's in this case, what is being proposed is that let's say for a special event, people are going to, let's say the machines are going to be programmed for, let's say, a higher amount, and 40% will come to the city and 60% of the fee will go to the parking authority. So it's a way of increasing revenue.
Somebody's gonna go out there.
They program it from the office.
Yeah, these
Program
towers,
machine.
they're the towers that they use now.
Technology.
We'll monitor that though.
Well, let's say if you don't put the correct amount, and you can put it by phone.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking who's gonna monitor them turning it off and on when it's supposed to be.
Parking authority.
Right. Okay.
And Mr. Clerk, I would suggest, we have a vote on this, but consistent with Councilman Amador's concern, which is, I think, a very good concern, make sure that the residents have, the opportunity to have the residential permit. I would suggest we vote, move it to the next step, and in between now and the next council meeting, let's have a sit down with the parking authority. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so we'll have the Parking Authority back again at the next pre, yes?
Yes, and make sure that they schedule it so that Councilman Amador is available.
I think what we need to do basically is identify clearly the area that is going to be affected by this, make sure that the residents in the area, because there's a lot of residents in the area, are notified, institute parking for residents only, and before this is implemented. Because the rights of the residents should supersede the rights of anyone coming from outside of the city for an event at the arena.
So,
Council as a whole,
but you're moving it to the next step?
Yes.
yes.
All right. So 6FD, stated as read previously, to adopt on first reading and elicit more information from the parking authority regarding residential preferences for parking.
Roll call, please.
Council of the whole. Amador,
Council of the whole.
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes. Next item.
6FE, Mr. President, an ordinance adopting 10th Amendment to the Urban Renewal Plan for the Old Third Ward Urban Renewal Project. Sorry, that's a typo. It's the 20th Amendment.
Mr.
Council
President.
pleasure. Councilwoman?
Yes. Unfortunately, this is one of those times when I did not have an opportunity to review this particular ordinance. And so I wanted to ask the councilman,
Yeah, it
because
really
the
is an
old third
update.
ward is a central ward.
Right, it really is an update to a redevelopment plan that started in 1960. And,
Yes.
and it is in keeping with the reexamination of the master plan to allow in that third ward area just more modern development. But the only question that I had is if we voted on it today with the typo, would that affect anything, or can we vote on it with the understanding that typo be corrected to reflect the 20th?
No, we've corrected the typo. The documents are correct.
Okay.
The documents themselves say 20,
I
which
believe
is
I read
typo
that
on the
it's-
agenda.
And,
Which
and-
we caught.
I'm sorry. And
Councilwoman Crum?
so this refers to the urban renewal plan for like Springfield Avenue.
Yeah, that's included in that area.
Okay, the reason I raised the question is I was shopping in one of your stores and asked the owner, and I do.
Not a
No,
supermarket
not a
this time?
supermarket. Actually,
Venturing out these days.
I'm venturing out. And asked the owner the results of a meeting with one of our development entities, which I shall tell you off camera.
Okay.
And he was told that he needed to move, that the focus of redevelopment in the city, it has now become the Halsey Street, you know, the hip kind of upscale redevelopment that they're doing, you know, in that area. I was incensed. And so I will be happy to talk with you. That's why I wanted to know what the 10th Amendment actually
It's the 20th.
addressed.
The 20th.
Oh, that's right, it was the 20th. Sorry.
Okay, Councilman,
Councilman,
Help me out here.
I thought it was to allow some preliminary development in certain area.
Right. It allows for a more modern development. Right now, as it exists now, there's a certain kind of a more modern development that you can't do, given that we don't have this amendment. It went before the Central Planning Board, and they approved it and submitted recommendations to the council. But that concern that you have, Councilwoman Crump, I'd want to talk to you. But this isn't specific to any particular development. It really just covers the larger area, which whatever development goes, it's just in keeping with what we're doing throughout the city with the master plan.
Thank you.
council pleasure here. You want to move it, Councilman
Yes.
Sharif, second? Second.
So,
Second by
For
Gonzalez.
adoption on first reading, Sharif Gonzalez, was it?
Sharif Gonzalez. Roll call.
Adopt on first reading.
Amador absent, Baraca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, 6F1 through F,
You're-
I'll keep this one.
5, no, I'm sorry, 6.
One
On
through
the
what?
following page.
1
Our
through 6?
5-year abatements,
Okay,
1 through 6.
yes.
Yes. Our 5-year abatements to adopt on first reading, council the whole.
Amador absent, Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6FG, an ordinance providing for the vacation of a portion of the right-of-way of Elizabeth Place and Hawthorne Avenue, approved by the planning board to increase the adjacent lot size to provide the developable property.
Councilman Baraka?
Yes, I like the sponsor.
Sponsor, second by
To
Councilwoman,
adopt on
Yes.
first reading,
Councilwoman Crump, second.
Baraka, Crump.
Roll call.
Amador absent, Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6FH, Mr. President, amends Title II, establishing an ordinance to authorize contracted extra-duty employment requiring all road construction, traffic control, or public safety functions that interfere with motor vehicle or pedestrian traffic on city streets and/or sidewalks to require the use of a uniformed Newark police officer.
It's a council
Mr.
pleasure here.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman,
if you recall at the last meeting,
police officer.
that I asked for and the council concurred, that special police officers be added to this. The police director is in support of this addition, and I was assured, Mr. Clerk, I'll wait till he's finished.
wanna
Mr.
get-
Clerk, I was assured that the changes would be made, the addition would be made.
Any other questions on this?
Only that, I agree that we requested some changes.
Yes.
Yeah, could I suggest, clerk, based on the fact that we should look through the document to make sure that the special police officer title is reflected where it needs to be in the ordinance, that we defer to the special on Tuesday? Councilwoman,
I'm sorry.
are you amenable to that? I move to defer to Tuesday.
If they can't find it,
What is on Tuesday?
and
What is on Tuesday?
the deputy, if he can't find that,
Yeah, you have
it may not have
you have
been.
a heavy discussion schedule on Tuesday.
This is just
Very
one
heavy.
item. One
So-
item. I said it's one item. By the time Mr.
And
Lewis looks at this.
That'll be the first voting item, which will enable the administration to add more voting items.
I understand that, Mr.
Well-
Clerk. That hasn't prevented us from doing it every week in the
Well-
past 5 years, so.
So, Mr. President, so whose responsibility is it to make the correction? The
Yeah.
administration's or the clerk's office?
The clerk's office.
It's our responsibility.
Thank you.
Let's just move to defer, okay?
Okay.
Did they find it?
He's still looking. Let's move this along, please.
Council the whole to defer.
I'm not.
To the special.
To
Tuesday,
Tuesday or
yes.
to the next meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Amador absent, Baraka.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, the ordinances adopted today on first reading will be advertised in accordance with law. A public hearing will be held at the regular council meeting of October 5th, 2011, at 12:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as possible in this council chamber. Ordinances on public hearing, second reading and final passage. 6P SFA, an ordinance containing certain provisions of previous bond ordinances, reappropriating the proceeds thereof, not needed for their original purpose. What's the council's pleasure? It's been deferred a number of
Well,
times.
it's been deferred on the advice of bond counsel, so
Are they okay now?
have they
with that?
cleared this?
Has
or-
it been heard by the local finance board?
Yeah.
VA right there.
The local
Has it been heard by the, I'm sorry, Mr.
finance board
President?
heard it.
And did they approve?
Yes.
So
So we can,
we can vote on it.
All right.
yes.
Council as a
Somebody,
whole.
Councilman Baraka said the business administrator was here.
Right there.
I see the top of his head.
What's the council pleasure here? You want to hear from the BA, or you just want to?
I'm happy, I'm
Okay.
comfortable with moving it.
Council as a whole, Mr. Clerk.
Amendments made to this by our office. Going to move it?
Council as a whole, yes.
Okay, so the public hearing is still open.
They gave us a list.
Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
Yes, I do.
Step forward.
My name is 10 Avenue, P.O. Box 2367, Newark, New Jersey. My concern is, what are we going to do with this bond that we are passing by, which is $4,130,000? What is this used for? What is it used for?
For, it's going to be used for Triangle Park.
For what?
Triangle Park. It's a park between the arena.
We going to use this kind of money on a park when we have people don't have houses to live in, and we're going to use some park?
This money was allocated to the park. So what we're doing, we were holding that money in a trust account, and now we're transferring that money to the proper authority, to the housing authority, to finish the park for which the bonds were issued.
Well, what about the other park?
That park was issued, this money was issued for that specific park.
60,
Hold on, Cassandra.
you
Go ahead,
mean to
Ms.
tell
Evans.
me you're going to take that kind of money to finish what park?
Triangle Park.
And this, what ward? In the East Ward or the North Ward?
Actually, it's the East Ward. By
But
the
we
arena,
gon-
by the arena,
Huh?
by the arena, in front of the arena.
We losing all that kind of money. I can see where they're dealing with something value for people that who don't have a park. We're gonna take that kind of money, borrow a bond, get in debt to finish a park when we even have people do not have place to stay in.
Therefore, these bonds were issued in 2006.
Well, why we just move it?
And we are holding that money in escrow so that it could be transferred to that entity. So the city is holding that money for 5 years now in a trust account for the use, to be used in a park.
Well, why did, I have one question. Why did they hold it from 2006 and just 2011? Tell me.
That's the same question that I asked, was that why, let's say, are you
Because
holding that
what
money?
you're doing now, you're bringing stuff up from 2006, should have been taken care of, and it's 2011.
But the
That's
thing is-
5 years.
The park,
Cassandra, please.
the
Have a
park,
seat.
Which one is this? Where are we?
He must can answer that question. Jermaine, you can answer that question? Please come front and center.
Page 7?
About Triangle Park.
Ms. Evans, is that it?
Huh?
Do you have any more questions on this item?
SFA.
Yes, I do, but I ain't get the right answer yet. He told me they've been holding for all them many years, and I'm wondering why they holding them many years.
well,
That's a serious problem here. And we said in debt. But I'll see, I'll come back.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. No one else appearing, Mr. Clerk. No one else appearing.
Well, is it possible that we can have somebody talk about what happened to,
Ms. Cassandra, please have a seat.
huh?
I don't think
Well, somebody is here that could talk about it, maybe the
You
BA,
said the
somebody
business
could talk
administrators
about,
behind
yeah.
this?
What happened to the previous money? I think that's a good question. I mean, there's not a lot of us here, so I need to find out.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
I'm informed that the bond counsel had verbally told us it was approved, but we have nothing in writing to tell us it was
then-
approved by the local finance board.
Be nice.
Therefore, the conversation for the moment, is moot and it must be deferred.
Council as a whole to defer,
The public hearing has been held
and it's
and
closed.
closed.
Say what?
We still need to know what happened to the original money.
I understand that, Councilman, but you're not going to vote on it tonight.
The public hearing,
Roll call,
Roll call.
close the hearing and defer.
Amador,
why, I'm sorry.
Yes to defer.
Mr. Clerk,
Hold on, we're in the middle of a roll call here, please.
yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
What is this, to defer?
Yes, to defer.
Abstain.
To defer, we're deferring it.
Gonzalez,
Yes
I
to
know.
defer.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes,
Mr. President, the reason I abstained is not that I don't support the deferment, but I have an objection to closing the public hearing on this, which would include an explanation for those persons who raised legitimate questions. Ms. Evans' question, I agree with the councilman, is a legitimate question. Is also Cassandra, I think, well, you're sitting back there, but it's legitimate.
and Councilwoman, our expectation is that we will have appropriate representation from this entity speak to us and provide a response to Ms. Evans'
That's all-
question
that's all I'm asking.
prior to us voting on this
That's all.
at the next meeting.
We are inviting the bond counsel with the council's direction to the
And we
next
want the bond
pre-
counsel, but I think we also want to address the explanation on delays on this project.
Yeah, I was starting to say that. So we'll have the appropriate people invited so that it receives
Who is-
another
who is the-
airing with the
the appropriate
council
people?
at the pre-meeting conference.
Yeah.
Newark Housing Authority
Not anymore.
I just want him to say who the appropriate people was.
and the bond,
All right?
Next item.
So we invite bond counsel and the housing authority. And the Department of Development. For the pre. Six PSFB is 4-hour parking, Title 23, traffic and parking, deleting Warwick Street in the East Ward, removing the 4-hour limit on Warwick between Pacific and Adams.
Councilman Amador?
Amador, is that? Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing. No one appearing,
No one
sir.
appearing, a motion to close the hearing, adopt the ordinance on second reading, final passage. Amador,
Second.
Gonzalez, roll call.
Amador,
yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Yes. Next item.
6P SFC, Mr. President. This amends, again, Title 23, traffic parking, revising the hours on New Street, for permit parking in the Central Ward, not requiring DOT approval, deleting and adding the hours as shown therefore. Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
No one
No one
appearing.
appearing. Councilman Sharif?
I'd like to sponsor it, yes.
You want to move it?
Yes.
Second, Crump.
To adopt, close the hearing, adopt the ordinance, second reading, final passage. Sharif, second.
Crump.
Crump. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6PSFD, accepting by ordinance as a public street and right-of-way from New Jersey Transit Corporation, a portion of Atlantic Street, from Bridge to terminus at Broad, including additional dedication of the street for the widening of the easterly right-of-way line of Broad Street from north of Bridge to Division Street. This, I believe, is in the east.
Central. It says central.
Yeah, Central Ward.
So we'll make it Sharif and Amador. Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
Yes.
We on page
Had a dollar figure in it.
Page 7,
8? Okay.
but last item on the bottom of the page.
Page 7.
Page 7? Okay. All right. Explain it to us first before we say yes or no. Explain that to me. My name is 104 Evan, P.O. Box 2367. Explain that to us, as you say in Public Street, on the last one on page 7, about the bridge. Explain to that. Will we fixing the bridge on Broad Street, or what are we doing?
There's a
Now,
street
the title
called
is
Bridge Street.
self-explanatory.
Huh?
There's a street called Bridge Street.
Okay.
And there was a street constructed that goes from there to Broad Street behind, I believe it's 494 Broad Street. So it goes from Bridge Street to Broad Street. We are accepting that street.
Oh, y'all gonna accept that street in East
Yes.
Ward?
Right by the Bear Stadium, Ms. Evans, right around
Okay.
there.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. No one else appearing, Mr. Clerk.
No one else appearing. Motion
I
is
use that
to
all the
close
time,
the
too.
hearing, adopt the ordinance, second reading, final passage. Sharif Amador.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6VSFE, authorizing acquisition of Block 25, Lot 18, a portion of Lot 20 in the Central from New Jersey Transit Corporation at the purchase price stated to reconvey to Fidelco LLC for an identical price reflected as a credit against payments, amounts payable by the city under a settlement agreement and general release with the entity of Fidelco. New Jersey Transit was present here at a previous meeting and discussed this with the council. Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
Yes, I do. My name is 104 Evans, P.O. Box 2367. Please explain me about this $275,000. What are we using this money on? I see you got something on writing, but explain it so I have a clear understanding of what's going on.
The city is purchasing land and reselling it for the same price to a private company, and the land is going to be used partially for parking, public parking.
Why we are selling the land to a private profit, to sell the land to someone else and say they're gonna do a park? Do we have that in writing? Do we have any of this thing in writing? When we sell this land, we getting this kind of money back. Do we have it in writing? Is that the value of the land that we sell them for $275,000? Same price. Can you tell me something about this? What we're looking at now, we're buying the land back, and we're gonna sell the land again for the same price. Well, that don't make any sense. That, you're not really getting nothing off the land. Explain it for me, please, before I go no
The
further.
sale is being done according to the requirements of state law.
Mr. President,
Okay, if you did the sale, excuse me, if you did the sale of this land, did y'all, by the state law, did y'all have an economic, what we classify as, check that land out and see if that land is properly used for anything? Did y'all look for environment or contamination?
All right, hold on. We had Councilman Gonzalez and Councilwoman Crum.
you may say what I'm going to say.
What is happening is that New Jersey Transit, by law, cannot sell the land to Fidelco. So the city of Newark is buying the land and transferring the land to Fidelco. The city of Newark is acting as a conduit to buy the land and transfer the land to this entity, and the city of Newark is not making a profit or a loss on the transaction.
I think another important point is this land is not owned by us. It is owned by New Jersey Transit.
Okay, that's the main question, that's the
Yeah,
main answer you
yeah,
gave me.
It's owned by New Jersey Transit.
Okay, so we don't own the land.
That's right.
That's very, very simple.
That's
And we
right.
ask the question.
Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ms. Evans. No one else appearing, Mr. Clerk.
No one else appearing, a motion is to close the hearing, adopt the ordinance. Second reading, final passage. Is this council of the whole or other than that?
Council as a whole.
The whole.
Council of the whole. Thank you, Councilman.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca.
Yes.
Trump,
Yes, sorry.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
6PSF 1 through 6. are 5-year abatements done according to state statute. Does anyone wish to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing.
On appearing, the motion to close the hearing, adopt the ordinance. Second reading, final passage, council of the whole.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Resolutions. Let's see this for me. Bring it up.
Resolution 7R1A
There you go.
is an authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a
big
bid
guns,
contract for the maintenance and repair of electrical service, installation and repair. This has failed several times. Council pleasure.
Put it up again. Let's see.
Council of the whole to adopt.
Need the surface.
Roll call.
Don't look at me.
Amador?
No.
Baraca?
No.
Trump?
This has got to be a record. No.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Table it.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Fails.
Fails to adopt. Is there an alternative motion?
Would it be possible to recommend to the administration that this matter be rebid?
And I need a motion to return this to administration.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call to return to administration. Amador Baraka.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes. And Mr. Clerk,
Yes, sir.
could we have public buildings put together an assessment, an analysis for us on how much we have spent on emergency contractors to do some of this work?
Yes,
Since
sir.
we don't have a contract?
Yes, sir. 7R1B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for bid contract for work close. This has failed several times. Council pleasure. Council of the whole to adopt.
Amador?
No.
Baraca?
No.
Trump?
No.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Fails. Do I have an alternative motion?
Want to return this one too?
Yes.
Yes.
I move to return it.
Yes.
I'll second.
Carlos Gonzalez,
Ditto.
Ramos. To return to administration. Roll call.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes to return.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R1C is an authorization for the Department of Administration for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be close. For a temporary emergency appropriation for the parking offense adjudication program. I believe the presiding judge was at the pre-meeting to discuss this with the council.
Yes.
Council of the whole to adopt.
Yes.
Yes.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraca?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Just made it. Adopted. 7R1D is an authorization for the Department of Administration to use the state contract for software licenses related to related services. Council of the whole to adopt. Roll call.
Amador?
No.
Baraca?
Abstain.
Trump?
No.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Fails. 7R1E is a ratifying, authorizing, and amending resolution for the Department of Administration for an EUS contract amending Resolution 7R1L of April 7, 2010, providing insurance consulting and brokerage services. This is Brown and Brown. Council of the whole to adopt?
No.
Nope.
Mr. President, as a result of our discussion and meeting on Tuesday, and also as a result of the report delivered by our Director of Personnel, and I think it was the Council President who requested information on the certification of our Director of Personnel. Can we defer this until the next regular meeting. And it'll give Brown and Brown a chance to prove that they're a partner, you know, and not an overseer.
Councilwoman Crump moved to defer, second.
I'll second.
There's also no cost to the city.
Roll call to defer.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yeah.
Crump,
Yes, to defer.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes, defer.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
F is an ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a contract with subrecipient for housing assistance and supportive services with, for,
No, this is Catholic Charity.
this is a HOPWA grant. This is Catholic Charities.
Council
G.
pleasure? You want to take these together?
Let's do them together,
Okay.
Mr. President. G is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a cooperation agreement for city support for the Newark Housing Authority's application to HUD for low-income housing. Council of the Whole to adopt through 701G.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Council President, I just want to say,
Councilman Baraka.
I was at a meeting recently where we were discussing the inability of folks from my ward to get the housing assistance. Some folks called the county, and the county said that Newark had its own money, and they called a couple of people, and they were telling them that they actually ran out of money. So I want to make sure that we give this kind of money to organizations that are going to be supportive throughout the city of individuals. And I just wanted to make sure that Catholic Charities was not a part of New Community. So I was made clear of that, yeah, so. Okay.
Next item.
701H is a ratifying, oh, yes, we did the roll call, F and G. 701H is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for an application and acceptance of grant funds for the implementation of the reentry legal services at the request of the administration. Council of the Whole to return to administration.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President
He's absent temporarily.
absent.
We have 5 votes. It's adopted. 701L is a authorizing and amending resolution for the. I. It's an authorizing and amending resolution for the Department of Administration, amending Resolution 7R1C of June 17, 2010, acceptance of grant. This is the second amendment to extend the grant expiration date. Council pleasure. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
This is the second extension. We didn't have a chance yesterday, of course, to go through the entire agenda. It was just so, we had so much business. But I would have asked this question. This is the second extension. How many more are we allowed before they take their money back?
I can't answer that question, Councilwoman. We'll send a letter to the administration and make
Oh,
that
yeah,
request.
could we do that?
Yes.
And could we also copy Diane Johnson? Could we copy Diane Johnson from,
From HUD,
This is
yes.
the Justice
oh,
Department.
this is the
That's
Justice
the Justice
Department.
Department, not
I'm
HUD,
sorry.
yes.
This is the Justice Department.
Well, we will ask the administration
Yep,
what the timeline is
Right.
on this Justice Department grant. With council pleasure, Council of the Whole to adopt here? Mm-hmm. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Crump,
yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
J is a authorizing and amending resolution for the Department of Administration, amending Resolution 7R3A, acceptance of grant funds. This is extend the grant expiration date at the request of the administration. Council of the Whole to return to administration.
Before we vote, in accordance to the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding that we have with the city, any contract that we enter into that requires a city contribution, and I see that there's a city
This does.
contribution here, has to be approved by the state. So I don't know if the returning it to the administration or not voting on it is the right thing to do, but if they requested it, I suppose they know what they're doing.
I'm glad you're
Roll
laughing.
call.
Amador,
Good point.
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Crump,
RTA, return to administration?
Yes, return.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
K is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a resolution of need support of the Newark Housing Authority's application for financing for low-income housing.
Regarding the Gigi Fouché, no?
This is, yes, this is the Gigi Fouché Towers project.
I'd like to be known as the sponsor, Mr. President.
I'll second that.
Crump, Gonzalez.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
L is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a contract with subrecipient to provide housing assistance and supportive services for persons with HIV/AIDS. M is, let's do L separately. L, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Before we move on, Mr. President, Mr. Clerk, through the President's chair and your office, could we send a letter asking them to please pay Renaissance CDC? I ran into the
Pastor.
ED, yeah, and he hasn't been paid since May. I believe that was the date, which is ridiculous.
Well, I believe this resolution is what's holding up payment.
Oh, it's since May,
No, but is
and
it
it's
for
way more than $32,000.
Well, we're authorizing here back to January. This is what's blocking his payment. Once this resolution is executed, they should be in a position to pay the vendor.
But please note Councilwoman's concern and see if
We
they,
will send a letter to the administration
Is that a
asking that
gotcha
they
moment?
expedite the
they
payment.
probably have other funding that they receive from the
Yes,
city.
right, thank you.
7R1M is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a temporary emergency appropriation for overtime initiative to address violent crimes in the wards. N is a ratifying and authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a temporary emergency appropriation for the traffic signals inventory and assessment program. O is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a temporary emergency appropriation for improvements to various streets. P is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a temporary emergency appropriation for staffing for adequate fire and emergency response. Q is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a temporary emergency appropriation for overtime initiative to address illegal purchases of alcohol by underage persons. Through 7R1Q, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
That doesn't.
R is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for bid contract for batteries.
I have a question, though.
Councilman Baraka.
Can those, things actually be passed, since they require two-thirds of the council, and we don't have two-thirds of the council here?
Yes, we have 6 members.
We have six? Oh,
We
yeah,
have
we have
six.
six, okay.
We're good. I counted
I
before
think we
the
had
roll call.
5, I'm not counting myself.
That's it.
Go ahead. All right.
We're an R for the battery storage for automobiles. Let's do S as well. This is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for printing services for traffic tickets. T is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for illuminated street signs. U is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for maintenance and repair of trucks through 7R1U. Council of the whole to adopt.
Amador,
Everything but 7R1U.
You are no on U,
We haven't, yes, a no on you.
yes on the others.
Yes on those.
Yeah, we on you.
Baraka,
Abstaining on R, yes on everything else.
Yes to everything.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Adopted.
Can I ask you a very simple question? The reason why I abstained on you is, in view of the fact that I was extremely involved in returning or bringing back most of the mechanics to the garage,
Yeah.
don't they have the ability to perform this type of work? Oil changes and cleaning and greasing?
That's true.
On heavy-duty trucks, even though they're heavy-duty trucks? Are we
I want to change mine.
outsourcing
Yes.
this work
Yes.
when we brought back the mechanics?
Yes.
I believe the business administrator would like to address that issue.
Yeah, I thought it said repair. I didn't pay attention to
I did
the oil
too.
change.
I didn't either.
Right, Julian Neal's Business Administrator. Oh, sorry, thank you. Julian Neal's Business Administrator. With regard to the heavy trucks, it's the amount of oil that we have to dispose of and the cleaning. We don't have the adequate facility to do the thorough cleaning of the engines that they do there, but we do everything else in-house. So there are a few things that we're still doing outside. I'd prefer to bring it in, but if we had the new facility we're trying to do for Wilson Avenue, for example, we would have the ability to do this engine cleaning, but we don't have the ability to do that. And disposing of the amount of oil that comes out of the heavy trucks, the heavy-duty ones, it's actually cheaper to do that in conjunction with the cleaning as well.
But eventually, if we do consolidate the services, we'll be able to perform this type of work locally.
Yeah, this is
in-house.
one of the things that actually we intend to be able to do in-house and kind of offer it to other people once we have a
Okay.
bigger facility to do it in.
So while you're here, Council President, I just want you to, can you address R? I
Well,
mean,
let's finish the
Okay.
discussion on this, and then you could come back to the other item.
He said he's about to sit down. He's about to finish.
Did we vote on R already, Mr.?
Yeah.
Yes, we voted on R. We completed that.
I abstained from it, only because I wanted to know, are we just asking
We're not
somebody
in
to
the middle
store
of
the
a roll
batteries?
call for these, right? No.
Yeah, we vote called already. We voted.
No, I'm saying the item on you.
I-
The dispose of this item?
We did a roll call?
We
Yes.
voted.
We adopted.
Okay, then
I
answer the
voted no,
question
but-
on R.
I voted no, but based on the explanation of the BA, I'd like to change my vote to a yes.
On you?
Yeah.
All right, now we can go to Councilman Baraka's issue on R.
Councilman, with regard to the batteries part, honestly, I'm not sure about the storage part, but the batteries part, this is purchasing all the batteries we use for all the emergency vehicles and all the other city vehicles. So it covers all police and fire, fire trucks, fire engines, command vehicles, that some of them use up to 5 batteries apiece. So this is just a contract for us to be able to purchase all the batteries for the fleet.
Because it says storage, I was confused there. You could
Yeah,
change
and
my
I can get you more
vote to a yes.
clarification on that. I'm honestly not sure about the storage part.
Yeah, all right.
Mr. President, can I also go back to 7R10, improvement in various streets? The paving of various streets? There's a list of streets that is available as backup information to this resolution.
Yeah.
I fail to understand that folks in the city still don't know where the east is and the south is and the central is when they designate Lincoln Park from Broad Street to Washington Street as part of the East Ward. This is supposed to be equally divided among the 5 wards. And Lincoln Park, from what I understand, is not part of the East Ward. It's part of the Central Ward. I don't have anything against Lincoln Park. I sincerely support the paving of Lincoln Park, but it's not fair for residents of some of the streets in East Ward that are dying to get paved, that they are going to be shortchanged on this resolution because somebody made a mistake. Clearly, they should know when they designate these streets, or they should call us individually and say, what streets do you feel should be paved? Like they used to many years ago.
And Mr.
It's not
Clerk,
fair.
you know, and Councilman Amador's concern is noted, and I think we need to have a sit-down with the engineer at some point, or Director of Public Works, just to go over the next few years, in terms of what areas they're gonna project out as far as street paving, how is it gonna be divided up to ensure there's equity, you know, around the city, and how do we respond to some of these emergencies when they dig up, you know, streets for, you know, water, sewer, lining, and other projects. So, you know, let's schedule maybe on a day we don't have a
We'll schedule
special,
something for one of
we
the
could have,
special meetings.
yeah, we'll have Medi come in to talk to us.
So the councilman from the east is complaining that there are no parks in the east, so we're giving him one.
I didn't hear the last part.
He said he's giving you one.
We're giving you one park, Lincoln Park.
No, it's going to this,
Yes, and now he's got triangles.
everything is going to
Now
this.
he's got,
And then you have Triangle Park.
What a name.
All right, next item, please.
7R1V is a authorizing resolution
And
for a
here.
bid contract for office supplies. W is a authorizing resolution for Department of Administration for a bid contract for various vaccines. X is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract for clinical psychologists for the police department. Y is a ratifying, authorizing, and amending resolution for the Department of Administration, amending Resolution 7R1J of August 4th, 2010. This is an EUS contract. This would increase the contract amount and extend the contract period through 7R1Y. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Trump,
yes on everything and abstain on X. And would like to have an explanation after the roll call is taken.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
absent President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, is this the same physician they've been using all along?
Gotta send
I
a
did
letter,
not.
remember you
And that's
said
the one that sent us a letter that
he wasn't paid.
they have been providing the service for almost a year now, and we haven't paid them.
Right.
But this is authorizing, it is not ratifying, so it appears it's a different contract. And what is not noted is the dates of service. That's missing. So it appears that pertinent information is left out, so that we would think that this is simply payment for services rendered. This is authorizing, not ratifying. And if it's the same psychologist, we have been asked over and over and over again to make a serious attempt to make this particular contract competitive, and we have not done that.
Mr. Clerk, could I just state that through, and Councilwoman,
For solicitor.
through Councilman Rice's leadership, this used to be awarded as a professional service.
Yes.
And for the last few years, it's actually been let out competitively for the first time that I can recall. And,
Who they want to get it, we'll get it.
not listening. And each time that it's been let out competitively, you know, the recommendations come back for the same. But Councilman Rice had been pressing this for quite some time, and through his leadership, this wasn't awarded as a professional service anymore. This was actually RFP'd out for the first time that we've been here.
Clerk, I'm going to abstain, change my vote to abstention.
Okay, what does that do? Okay, that means that X now fails with that change of vote.
Yeah, let me, if I may, Mr. President. there are two doctors that perform that kind of service in the state, according to what we were, the presentation made to us. So if we don't have this one, we will have to have the other one that apparently is in South Jersey. So I believe for practical purposes, it's better for our people to go to Mawa, that is for our people to go to Atlantic City.
The clinical psychologists in New Jersey.
That they are authorized to do the kind of work, yes, too.
Mr. President, without belaboring the discussion,
Hold on, please.
yes, I
Go ahead.
am concerned about availability and proximity, but I'm more concerned about outcomes.
If I can, Mr. Clerk, and between now and the next regular meeting, maybe we have a representative from the police department come in and explain to us
Yes.
why this particular company is being recommended, and more importantly, what would be the impact if this service is not available on officers who are waiting for medical or psychological clearance to come back to work in the department. Administrator, you want to provide any clarity here?
Just some, Julian Neals, Business Administrator. I know as far as the last competitive process, this was the only respondent to the last open
Been a
bid
few
process.
times,
So they were just at the last.
Here I go again, Mr. VA. He may have been the only responder, but unfortunately, sometimes we have a way of writing the specs, not you, but we have a way of writing the specs so that the person that we want to get the job does get the job. So that's
Understood.
my
I'm just
final
reporting the
comment.
facts. And
I got it. I said it's not about you.
All right, it fails adoption with an understanding we're going to have somebody come in and talk to us prior to the next regular. Let's move on, please.
7R2A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Child and Family Wellbeing for applications and acceptance of grant funds for the provision of childhood lead poison prevention services. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
McDonough absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R3A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development to execute a grant agreement for the UEZ relocation and employment incentives. 7R3B
I'd like
is
to be noted as a sponsor for that.
I'll second that.
Rocca. B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for the preparation of an amendment to 6S and FA special meeting of March 8th, 1989. This would authorize the Central Planning Board to prepare an amendment for the Waverly Yards redevelopment plan. Council of the Whole?
Yes.
Through 703B, Council of the Whole with its sponsors for A.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
McDonough absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes. And
Mr.
Mr. Clerk,
President, I'm sorry.
Yes.
do we have at some point, Mr. Zipkin come in and give us a presentation on the bakery? It's moving in. Okay.
A, 703A?
Yes.
Yes.
Damascus.
It's just a little bit about that. It's a bakery that's moving to Newark, so it's not like a regular, retail bakery. They're gonna make, bake the bread there on the premises, where they're gonna have to hire, a lot of people to work there in terms of, baking breads and other
I
things.
read the
to-
article
To
on
deliver to other
NJ.com.
people, yeah. And part of the UEZ contribution is being used. They're not getting all the money up front. They only can get some of the money depending on the amount of people they hire in the bakery. So the money goes to them based on the amount of people they hire. So if they hire more people, the more they get contribution.
Thank you.
Because they're very so close.
7R5A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Finance for refund interest and costs due to outside buyer of tax liens. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes, sorry.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice
5A.
absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R7A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Law for settlement of civil litigation. B is a authorization for the Department of Law, again, for settlement of civil litigation. Council of the whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R8A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Office of Mayor One Stop Career Center for acceptance of grant funds for the dispersed workforce investment funds for the TANF General Assistance and Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. 8B is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Office of Mayor One Stop Career Center for a professional services contract providing additional training to 20 staff members to service youth and their development and employability plan. C is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Office of Mayor of the Municipal Courts for a professional services contract for a visiting judge to preside over sessions in the event of an unavailability of a Newark Municipal Court judge through 7R8C. Council of the whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes on A, absolutely no on B, and yes on C.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Adopted. 7R9A is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for the municipal budget adjustment. This is the Councilman Amador's legislation.
Just a point of clarification. After talking to the law department, especially Judge Herrera, the language that we had in the previous resolution would not stick legally. Therefore, we decided to change the language to make it appropriate. And the language is as follows now. This municipal council of the city of Newark hereby proposes and supports the position that going forward, no city of Newark employee receive an increase in their base salary unless it is absolutely necessary to ensure and promote public safety or necessary to the efficient operation of the city of Newark.
I don't understand that. Are you saying nobody can ever get a raise?
No, they can get a raise as
Can I
long as
have
it's
a-
negotiated with the union, but
Councilman,
anybody
didn't you set
Yes.
that is not non-essential.
you said a
Yes,
A
I
limit, right?
asked Councilman Amador for reconsideration, that the shelf salary would be, for consideration, would be at least $75,000. If you have a family and you're making $50,000 by the time the government gets finished with you, trying to feed, clothe, and house a family on that amount of money, on $50,000, which is what the original request was, is impossible.
No, I thought we changed it to 75,000.
Yes.
It doesn't say that.
Okay.
What's the council pleasure here? Are we
I'll,
reading the
I'll defer
amendments
it
into
until
the
the next
record?
meeting, that's fine.
Or you want to defer so like that we have something in writing to review? So
Yes.
Amador, Crump to defer?
Sure, to defer.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez,
What are we voting on?
Deferring it.
Defer, yes.
Deferring.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
It's beginning to look like the pay-to-play
I know.
resolution.
You'll never break that record.
Well, it's if I may, Mr. President, is again, the MOU prohibits increases in salaries, so I believe that that piece of legislation for now is going to be moot.
It is still important to
Oh,
have on the
yes,
record.
it does.
It's important that we express our view, but let's say the MOU that we have to sign to
That's
receive
right.
the money prohibits any
Absolutely.
salary increase that is not authorized by a
Contract.
contract,
In negotiations.
a negotiation.
I would like to play the role of the state for 2 minutes.
Councilman
wrong with
Gonzalez
that.
is the bearer of bad news tonight.
That's
Yeah.
Even though I'm not as heavy.
Unfortunately, I read the thing from
beginning to
from
end.
beginning to end, so.
All right, next item, please.
7R9B is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for a hold harmless and indemnification agreement for the Children's Halloween Parade and Celebration. This is La Flamboyant Manor.
Can we do
7R9
parades with the MOU?
Excuse me?
Can we do the Halloween parade with the MOU, or?
If we have to do it before the MOU is signed.
I'm kidding.
That's true. We had to hurry up and do some things.
Yeah.
No more resolutions, no.
That's right.
Go ahead.
7R9C are various recognizing and commending resolutions. 7R9D are various resolutions expressing profound sorrow and regret. Let's do through 7R9D, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraca.
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
McDonough absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R9E is a authorizing and amending resolution, amending the 2011 municipal budget.
What is that?
It's amendment to the budget. Council
For
pleasure.
the amendments that were presented to us.
I didn't get to see them. I don't know about the rest of you.
They were distributed to us today.
There is a, we distributed the packages to everyone, and there's another set in your package before you.
It must have come today,
Wait.
after I left the office.
That,
Councilman Amador?
I believe that we talked about this, and the amendments that we had before us, I don't know if it's part of this resolution, were all amendments submitted by the administration.
Actually, by the state.
And we
the
specifically
state.
indicated,
By the state.
or by the state.
Yes.
And we specifically indicated that no changes or amendments would be submitted on the budget unless we had ours put together. Is that true?
Well, Councilman, this is not the end of
Enlighten
the
me.
amendment process.
first step.
If you adopt these amendments, you can come back and adopt a new set of amendments after the council has had an opportunity to provide its input. So this isn't the end of the process.
Okay, that's fine.
But how do you, Mr. Clerk, how can you, I'm sorry, Mr. President, Mr. Clerk, how can you ask us to adopt that which we have not seen? At our meeting yesterday, we did not see a document.
At the
It
meeting
was
yesterday,
It was
the document
presented,
was...
excuse me, I wouldn't interrupt you, Ken.
All right.
It was presented orally, and we raised the issue that we should have had a written document. Now, if it was delivered today, and I'm glad to hear that, it happened for me when I left the office.
And Councilman,
Early,
if I can enlighten,
Yeah.
based on my understanding of the conversation yesterday, we express our concerns about not having the proposed amendments in writing. We were under the understanding that we were going to get those amendments at some point today because of the timeliness issue of moving the budget along, especially in light of the fact that the state now has agreed to an aid number. So we did receive the amendments today. We got another copy before the meeting. Correct?
Yes, you received them earlier today, and there is a copy in your sets on the desk before you, a second copy.
Administrator, Councilwoman?
Julian Neals, Business Administrator. Just for a point of order for the council, the amendments were prepared jointly with Darlene Tate, our Director of OMB, and Joe Falcone, the city's auditor, as the appropriate process. I do apologize for the time frame because it was based on discussions that we had with the state on Friday when it was identified what the number would be that the state would be willing to give for assistance. So we started a process on Friday evening, and actually Mr. Falcone worked through the weekend to prepare the amendments. The amendments then had to be submitted to the DCA to be approved, and as soon as that process took place, then the amendments were circulated to the council.
I never saw it.
Council President.
Councilman Sharif.
I got an opportunity to sit down with Joe earlier to go over the amendments, but to the point that we made earlier at the pre-council meeting, and we all know that everything is in a state of flux and the targets are moving, but that doesn't excuse, even as things change from day to day, not really setting up a line of communication with this council to inform them as those things change. I don't know what time in the afternoon we received the amendments, but had I not grabbed Joe to go through the amendments, I wouldn't have been prepared to cast the vote today. And so I don't know if there was communication to the other council meetings to say that the amendments are here, we're available to sit down and go through them with you. So that's my big frustration, and I know that we're under a compressed time frame, but the administration should have realized that and prepared themselves to work with us literally around the clock if necessary. This is probably one of the most important acts of this council, so accommodation should have been made to account for the compressed time frame that we're under. I'm convinced, I'm satisfied based on Joe and I sitting down that I understand what I'm going to vote on. I can't say the same for my council colleagues. I don't know if they had an opportunity to meet with Joe or somebody from the administration to go over and explain the amendments that are before us today. Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Sharif. Any other questions, comments? You want to say anything else before the roll call, Mr.
Just one other
Administrator?
point, that to follow up, the clerk had stated that the amendments then will be, based on what the council does here, they would be then available for the public to have hearing on them, which would take place next week. So this is not the end of the process. This is just the beginning of the process as far as the amendments are concerned.
Thank you very much, Administrator. Council as a whole.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Abstain.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Adopted. Adopted. I should point out, Mr. President, that these amendments that were adopted this evening will be advertised in accordance with law, and there will be a public hearing held on September the 28th, Thursday, September 28th at 1 p.m. here in the council chamber.
On the amendments.
On public hearing on the amendments.
Thursday at 1 p.m.
Wednesday?
Wednesday or Thursday?
Yes, Wednesday. Wednesday, the 28th, I'm sorry. Wednesday, the 28th at 1 p.m.
Thank you. Next item.
On 7R9F is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for a resolution of support establishing the position of the Municipal Council with regard to the acquisition of the William H. Brown Academy building for the Newark Public School System.
Mr. President,
Yes. Councilwoman.
well, maybe we should do it as council as a whole. I was going to say,
Yeah,
in the absence of the president.
Yeah, I think time is
Yes.
of the essence for
So
the
we better.
Council of the whole, roll call.
council as a whole.
Amador,
Yes.
Baraka,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Hussein absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R11A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Police for the appointment of 13 special police officers. 7R11B is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Police for the appointment of special police officers. Councilwoman Crump wishes to defer both resolutions. Do I have a second for deferral?
I don't mind deferring because I
Happened
think the
since
question
yesterday.
I think the question that the councilwoman has is the same question that I have. There's one individual here that does not live in the city of Newark.
Actually, there are two.
There are about
that I-
3 or 4.
Two that I know of,
Well, I'll second
but
it.
yeah.
So
In
we
the
have a
middle of a vote.
mover, second to
Baraka,
defer.
second. Roll
With an
call.
invite to the police department.
An invite to defer.
Yeah, and the reason being that these individuals are the last of the laid-off police officers that have yet to have an opportunity to serve as Newark Special Police Officer. The rest of them have been appointed. I think this group represents the very end of that list of laid-off officers that are not employed anywhere else right now.
And Mr. President, if I may.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It said we don't want to delay the the appointment of these individuals, we want the record to reflect the correct address of the individuals.
That's why we want to
If
have
they
an
are
invite.
saying that they reside in Newark and they do not, I want the record to reflect where they live and not necessarily put an address that is not correct. Because we have approved some others that do not live in the city of Newark, so I don't see why they cannot tell us where they
Why
live.
we did that? But go ahead.
Mr. President, just to add something, the thought just occurred to me, in case there are those persons who place the blame for the delay upon us, it is invalid. The blame lies with those officers who submitted bogus addresses. They're the reason, the real reason this is being deferred. And so I agree, we can't let this.
We should have just.
So, anyway, we can.
We have a mover and second to defer with an invite to the police director and the police chief to discuss with us. We'll talk about it then.
Amador,
Yes.
Baca.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana, absent Rice, absent Sharif.
Yes.
Kane, absent President Ramos.
Yes.
Yes, Council President, before we go on to the
Councilman
next
Sharif.
item, I want to address something that I think it's worth noting. The vote to approve the amendment, today I got no fewer from the administration and different people. I guess they were trying to figure out who to call me to try to get support for the amendment. And I never knew I had so many friends in the administration in terms of my cell phone going off. But I said that representatives from the administration needed to be here tonight just in case there were questions. And I appreciate them making that accommodation. But in addition, before we got to the amendments, there are a couple of questions that the council had on agenda items that the BA did a terrific job of coming to provide clarity. And this goes back to a point that I think I made at a pre-conference, that every single council meeting, somebody with knowledge of all these items should be available to respond to questions. And it shouldn't just be when the administration wants something passed. And so I appreciate the administration making that accommodation, but I would hope that they, for the next meeting, just for our regular meeting, would come to be able to provide additional information if council members had questions. Thank you,
I think it's funny that you received a number of phone calls. I received 0, so I'm not sure how I should accept that.
I think after tonight, I might not receive any at all either.
So noted. And I too want to echo the sentiments of Councilman Sharif and appreciate the presence of the BA even at
Absolutely.
almost 11 o'clock at night, that he's still here, willing to answer our questions. So, next item, Mr. Clerk.
7R12A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Water Sewer Utilities for refund for an overpayment on water sewer account. 12B is a authorization for the Department of Water Sewer for a refund for an overpayment on a water and sewer account. 12C is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Water Sewer Utilities for change order number 1, amending resolution 7R12A for the special meeting of September 9th, 2009. This would increase the contract amount and extend the contract period for the rehabilitation of the water distribution mains citywide. 7R12D is a ratifying authorizing it's an authorizing resolution for a bid contract for inspection and repair of pressure regulating valves through 7R12D. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Baca.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana, absent Rice, absent Sharif.
Yes.
Kane, absent President Ramos.
Yes.
Sorry, vote no on 12C. Sorry.
So noted.
We have, ladies and gentlemen, we've given you a resolution that's coming in as an added starter. This will be known as Resolution 7R12E. It is a resolution authorizing change order number 2 to a contract with Spinella Companies to undertake the structural repair of of a collapsed 96-inch diameter brick sewer located in the Branch Brook Park.
Yeah, and colleagues, so those of you that were here at the beginning of the meeting, I did provide, a briefing concerning the emergent situation of this collapsed sewer line, dating back a few weeks ago to the hurricane, and Council President did authorize and sign off on for consideration tonight. And Mr. Beckmeyer was at the meeting yesterday and briefly expressed the emergent nature of this.
Council of the whole to adopt?
Yes.
Amador?
Yes.
Karanka?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Communications. 8A is an ordinance amending Section 23:5-14E, parking by permit only. This would add Stone Street to the existing permit parking areas designated list.
Council President.
Councilman Sharif?
I mean, since we're just advancing it to communications, I don't have a problem, but can we invite Jack Nada to the next special?
You want to defer it or move it to the next step?
Oh, no, I'll move to the next step.
Okay. Councilman Sharif moves, second.
Second.
Gonzalez?
To advance to first reading. Roll
Yes.
call?
Amador?
Yes.
Karanka?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
7R8B, 1 through 11, 5-year tax abatements. Council of the whole to advance to first reading at the meeting of October 5th.
Amador?
Yes.
Karanka?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Pending business. 9A is an ordinance to amend Title 32 Sewer and Sewer Disposal. This would address and amend the rate schedule for sewer users. Council of the whole to adopt.
Which item is this, Mr.
This is
Clerk?
9A on bottom of page 39.
This is on the rates?
This is the rate for
I thought
sewer.
we stated yesterday that we were going to defer and have presentation for the council as a whole on this item, right?
I remember the
did.
presentation.
Yeah.
And if I may,
We
And
Mr. President,
scheduled the
also for water.
presentation for a special conference meeting.
Yes.
So
Actually,
we
the clerk came up with that suggestion.
So 9A, Council of the whole to defer.
if I may, before we vote,
A and B.
again.
Hold on.
Again,
Councilman Gonzalez? Go ahead.
the MOU speaks to this, and it says that it has to be approved in order for them to grant the monies. Let's say any increase in water rates, fees, and all the stuff have to be acted on before they can give us the money. So that read that document before.
I don't care what it says.
It's not in existence yet. It's not in existence yet.
No, it's not, but when we sign it, this has to be.
Well, we didn't sign it yet, so let's
I didn't
go.
sign it yet. No, we'll defer both of them, A and B.
Defer,
we're
doing 9A, Council of the whole to defer.
Yes.
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 This is going to be reinvested in the system.
Yes, to defer.
Absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
9B, Council of the whole to defer with an invite
Amador?
for the special
Yes.
presentation.
Baraka?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Donna absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
9C, the lease agreement, Council of the whole, at the request of administration, Council of the whole to return to administration.
Amador?
Absolutely.
Baraka?
Yes.
He's outraged.
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Council of the whole to accept the bingo and raffle license.
Amador?
Yes.
Baraka?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif?
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Council, we have the pre-printed motion that made by Councilwoman Crump earlier for the regarding the police protection for the Newark school superintendent. Council of the whole to adopt.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca.
Yes.
Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Motion?
Councilman Amador?
Just prepare a hold harmless agreement for the Ironbound Rec Center for the 2011 Halloween parade. I would like to have a copy and also to be available to the rest of the council of all the land transactions around the arena, the properties around the arena, how they were sold, for what they were sold, how they were appraised. I believe there were 2 appraisals done, but I'd like to have a record of all the transactions related to the land sales around the arena. And that's basically it.
Second.
I'll second it.
Councilman Gonzalez, before he moves. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Vaca,
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Rice absent. Sharif,
Yeah, yes.
Payne absent. President Ramos.
Yes. Councilman Baraka?
Yeah, I just have 2. One, I received a correspondence that was sent out to some special police officers, and I believe we had this discussion in one of our pre-meetings about this United Brotherhood organization from Louis Barrera, who was supposed to be the president of a meeting. I'd like to try to see if we could get them to come before us and just explain to us what this organization is, if it's just like the Bronze Shields or any other organization in the city. I would like them to come before the council and explain to us what the UBSLEO is, and if there's, find out who's in charge of the specials. Now, I'd like to have them come in as well, so I have a few questions that I'd like to ask them about the about special police officers and how they're being, brought in, and how they're being found jobs, a whole bunch of questions that I have, but I would like Louis Barrera to be brought in before the council to explain what that organization is. And I also like to send a note to the police director about these 24-hour establishments in the South Ward, that can they turn up the heat on these establishments that are open illegally in the South Ward, especially the one on Chancellor Avenue and Aldine. Is beginning to have a lot of activity in front of it, a lot of drug activity and people hanging out in front of it. Thank you.
Second. Councilwoman Crump, roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez absent, Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif,
Yes.
Payne absent, President Ramos.
Yes. Councilwoman Crump?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. A letter to the Acting Director of Child and Family Wellbeing requesting the number of inspectors in the Health Department. One of our constituents, I believe it was Ms. Jackson, raised the issue of mold, and it just so happens that earlier in the week I received a phone call from a homeowner, and they were concerned about the black mold in their own home. And so the number of inspectors that are in the health department who have the certification to do that kind of inspection, because it is specialized. The other are a couple of announcements. For those of you who remember the SHARE program, it's a subsidized food program. You pay a certain amount of money and you receive $15 or $20 more in terms of produce, meat, staples, things like that. We have started the program again. We did it in cooperation with Metropolitan Baptist Church for a number of years, but the program died. And so at the request of my pastor, Bill Howard, he has asked us that we reinstate the SHARE program. Our first delivery will be this coming weekend, so we'll find out. We'll be able to make a comparison. So I share this information with anybody who was a SHARE customer or is interested in becoming a SHARE customer to call my office. You can get that number from information. And if you don't need one for yourself, consider purchasing one for a needy family. There are a lot of hungry people out there. Finally, just a ditto to the telephone number for FEMA. Ms. Jackson mentioned that right now they're taking applications for people who are already receiving entitlements. However, those of you who are not on any kind of assistance, or entitlement, please also call FEMA. You also have to check with your insurance company, but also please feel free to call FEMA. That number again is 1-800-621-3362. And the council members, we all have flyers. So we encourage you to quickly respond, as I was advised by someone from FEMA. Last but not least, a thank you to the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. In the agenda today, if you notice, we approved a $7 million grant that he has secured for the city. This is good for a number of reasons. It means that we don't have to take money out of our budget to fund the programs, but it also means that he is diligent and doing a really great job. And so, you know, we get criticized a lot, but very often we're not thanked. And so I'd like to say thank you to Director Keith Isaac. That's it.
Second, someone?
Second.
Sharif, Councilman Sharif, roll call.
Yes.
Bronca?
Yes.
Crump?
Yes.
Gonzalez absent, Quintana absent, Rice absent, Reed
Yes.
absent, President Raymond.
Yes, Councilman Sharif?
Yeah, just two announcements. I want to thank all the volunteers and all the residents, not only from the Central Ward, but all over Newark, who attended our Day of Giving last Saturday at Nat Turner Park. And for all the expenses for that event were paid for by Central Ward businesses. And that's important to mention because that's going to be a model that we're going to try to use going forward with the diminishing resources available here at City Hall to provide services to our residents. Lastly, I want to encourage everybody, the Urban League of Essex County, they're having their big walk in Branchbrook Park on October the 29th, and you can visit their website, ulec.org, to register. I talked to some of my council colleagues about us as a council participating in it and challenging other municipalities through Essex County to sign up people and let people know. I made my first visit to Milburn Township last night, where I appeared before a very small committee and the mayor and the even smaller number of people in the room to encourage them to sign up, and to their great credit, they agreed to participate in the challenge. And next week, I'm visiting a few other, but it's the Urban League, they do very great work, and like all nonprofits, they're struggling for resources, and it's a great way to have a good time in Branchbrook Park and to work off a few pounds. And that's it, Council President.
I'll second that. Roll call.
Ramos?
Amador.
I'm sorry,
That's Ramos and that's Amador.
Amador,
Spreading like a disease.
remember when I
Yes.
used to do Raka?
Yes.
Trump,
Yes.
Gonzalez absent, Quintana
We all
absent,
look alike.
That's right.
Sharif,
Yes.
Kane absent, Ramos,
Amador, yes.
He's more handsome, I'm younger.
I don't have any motions. I just want to let the viewing audience know that last week we had the official opening of the newly renovated and beautiful Newark School Stadium. And I want to thank, all those officials that came out and celebrated. That was a project that was funded by the city of Newark, by this body, by the council, back in 2007. And, after decades of neglect, we now have a beautiful stadium on Bloomfield Avenue. I encourage you to come out and support, the Barringer Blue Bears, along with other teams from within the city, local Little Leagues, youth soccer. It's the only certified track and field facility in the city, and it's going to be an exciting time for Newark School Stadium, and we're just very grateful and excited about its opening. That's it.
Amador,
Yes.
Raka.
Yes.
Trump. Yes. Gonzalez absent, Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. President, just before we finish, I forgot to mention, and I'm doing this with a sense of frustration that is at the end now. Neighborhood services. 3 addresses that have been sent to neighborhood services, to the director of neighborhood services, in letter, type, phone calls, everything. 48 Union Street,
An amended motion.
Vesey Street, and I'll give you the right address at Vesey Street, and the corner of Chestnut and Pacific. Garbage being piled up for the last 2.5 months. And we have sent letters to neighborhood services, we have made phone calls, nothing has worked. So maybe tonight, if somebody's listening or watching, maybe something works. But I'm losing my patience with that department.
Second? I'll second. Roll call?
I'm 40 and fit.
Amador,
Yes.
Raka. Yes. Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez absent, Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
Council hold to adjourn?
Amador. Raka. Yes. Trump.
Yes.
Gonzalez absent, Quintana absent, Rice absent, Sharif.
Yes.
Kane absent, President Ramos.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's go home.
I know we do.
good night.